Alrighty, an intro. So, this project's pretty cool. It's the first big metal sculpture type project that I'm taking on, and it's a big freaking sword in a stone. The sword that it's being modeled after is a sword for the school this is being created for, Iron Academy. I graduated from Iron Academy. I went through the whole grade system or whatever, from 6 all the way up to senior. Graduated. It's an awesome place. But the mascot kind of the school is a hand-and-a-half sword that was created by DelaGardelle of Cedar Lore Forge. And so I have my sketch for it. So this is a 1 inch to 1 foot ratio, based exactly off of DelaGardelle's sword, the Iron Academy sword. I'll probably have some pictures over here. But this is what it's gonna be. It's gonna be in a 2.5 ton rock. It's gonna be about 7-ish foot tall, sticking out of there. It's gonna have all the original engraving and everything. It's a little bit more simple than the actual sword itself, due to the fact that it's freaking massive. But yeah, I'm really excited about this project. Want to do an intro. I've already gotten started on it, but yeah, this would be cool.
Alrighty, so the first thing happening here is I'm creating a I-beam to be the center structure of the sword sculpture itself. Obviously, you can't really find an I-beam that is this small, and so what I did was I got 2 pieces of C-channel and welded them together, creating a little baby I-beam. So now with the I-beam structure finished, it was on to the next phase, which was cutting up all the flat stock that was going to create the main body and shape of the sword itself. So there's a couple different pieces that range from like 3-inch flat stock to 2-inch wide flat stock. And then the leftover pieces created from that is what I used to start making the guard structure, which is one of the first things that I started putting together. So that's what these different kind of little angle cuts are is creating the shape of the different pieces that are going to make up the guard, and eventually create a 3-dimensional piece. So with this, there is a lot of bending, fine-tuning, kind of making sure all my pieces matched up and made the guard look the way I wanted it to. So this little bit of time lapse is kind of showing you how I was able to bend the pieces around rather than trying to pre-bend them to match the curve of the guard. What I did was I just started on one end and would tack it a little bit and hammer it, and so by smooshing it over that way gradually, it made all my contact points match up a lot better than trying to finagle with it and make them match the curvature before trying to weld it on. So now with the guard section finished up, it is now time to move on to the handle section, which is going right about here. Now why the heck am I messing around with a block of wood when this is a metal fab project? Well, this is going to become a swage block for me. A very makeshift swage block, but it's going to work because I actually wanted to do at least some type of forging on this project. And so by making a carved swage out of a block of wood, I can get the rough handle shape formed into that to be able to forge in and then get me set up for when I'm going to weld the handle all together. Alright, so now we're starting on the forging process. Basically, with my wood block swage, I set up a gradual taper because the handle is going to gradually taper. And so I start with much wider stock than what the swage shape actually is. Heat, beat, and repeat, and slowly work in that shape of the handle. Now, the way I'm doing this is I'm actually creating two sides. So basically I'm working on one half and then the other. And then I have a technique I use to help marry those up later on. So now on to the last part of the hilt construction, the disc pommel. I'm getting perfect circles cut out by roughly cutting it with the angle grinder and then using the belt grinder to make it perfectly circular. And then to get this perfect circle in the center, I'm using a hole saw. So as you just saw there, I forged a piece of flat stock to make the thicker part of the disc, and then started kind of tacky welding it all together. And then the last thing was I had a piece of pipe that I stuck down through the center and welded as well. That way there wasn't a open spot in the disc pommel that could gather water. There we go, the whole hilt fully constructed. This thing is freaking huge. There's a couple pictures, anvil for comparison, me for comparison, another me for comparison, and my brother-in-law for comparison. So now on to attaching all the different flat bars of steel that create the body and structure of the sword. However, this is about the time I made my biggest mistake that really threw me behind on this whole entire project. Basically, I was still learning metal fabbing skills. I still am. But I didn't do the number one big rule, which is tack everything together and then weld the whole frickin' thing together. I thought I could just tack it a little bit and then weld it together, but that was very much not the case. I ended up welding one entire edge up all the way, and it just created a huge, massive bend. And yeah, so I had to come up with some creative solutions. So my first idea was that I was going to run to the welding store, get some oxyacetylene gas, and hopefully that will work very good. Now, I was given a very old setup of an oxyacetylene torch, so I figured I could maybe get this old oxyacetylene torch setup to work. So I ran to the welding supply store, got some fresh tanks, and hoped that it could get my sword sculpture straight. That's right. So I first thought that if I welded on the other side, it would overcorrect and the bend would straighten out, but it didn't. So I took my mind off of the problem, went home, and started another aspect of the build, which was cutting out vinyl stencils for etching the school's code into the broadside of the sword. So this cricut was absolute beauty, just the best thing ever, because it gave me these perfect crisp stencils that I could use to do my electro etching with, and it was just one of the best things I'd ever done. If you do a lot of etching or whatever, get yourself a cricut, because this was the best. So this was my first major attempt at trying to straighten the sword out. I really didn't want to cut it up into pieces, but it wasn't working. So I tried some dumb crap like putting a torch in it, heating it up with the oxyacetylene torch, squirting water on the underside to get it to contract, and it did move, but it would eventually bend back to not being straight. And that was so annoying. Alright, so it's been a hot second since I've actually done any time lapses or anything, because you can see this thing has a slight bend to it. And I tried one method which you saw earlier, and it would straighten out, but it wouldn't stay true after that. So now I'm going to the brute force method, and I'm gonna try to finesse it. But basically, I have longer pieces underneath there that are like this one, where this peak actually touches the bottom, and it's welded on both sides, and it's a lot longer. So it's that piece right there, and I have it raised up off the ground, so when I heat it up, I'm gonna rest the bobcat
on top of it and try to straighten it out and not mess it up. So, hopefully this goes as planned. Actually, I think I'm gonna use the excavator just because I'll be able to reach into here and push down on it, I think a little bit better than trying to drive the Bobcat up in here. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's good. Because this is kind of my last ditch effort, unfortunately. So, yes. I'm gonna keep its weight on this thing the entire time it cools down. But yeah, I leave it straight enough. Hopefully it doesn't bend much more. So yeah, see what happens. All right, so that whole attempt only worked a little bit. It still got a bow to it. So now I'm doing what I didn't want to do, but what I probably should have done from the beginning, and cutting the edge all the way up on both sides, and then trying the heat and bend process again. So hopefully this works.
The next day.
So I left the excavator sitting on it overnight while it was hot, and it's basically true, which is a very good sign. I think now if I just start welding on this side and pay attention, I can get it all the way back to true, which is very good because I've been wrestling with this thing for the past freaking 2 days trying to get it straight. So, yeah, let's clean it up and start welding the edges back together.
So here on the end cutoff, you can kind of see the 8 different pieces that made up the entire sword body. And the reason I was trimming it flush is because now it's time to attach the hilt to the entire thing and make this one whole sword.
I just got the hilt tack welded onto the blade. Yeah, this looks so cool. Holy cow. Look at that. Oh, this is so dope. All right, we got this bad boy cleaned up. And now it's on to electro etching. I got a cup of salt water over there and my crappy battery charger. And we're just degreasing this bad boy. There's a little bit of engine degreaser Put that on there, wipe it off. Let's start etching.
So now begins the arduous task of electro etching. I made sure to tape everything off and mask it off. That way I didn't have too much corrosive bleed over. But yeah, it was just a lot of sitting there, making sure that it's soaked in real good and got a nice etch, which I think I did. So after all the etching, there was one more etch to do, and that was putting my maker's mark / logo on there, because I definitely wanted to put my touch on this thing.
Alright, so I got everything 100% done when it comes to the construction of this thing. So now I'm just going to finish it and just doing a burned oil finish, but I have all the etching done. It is 100% complete in that regard. Just had to do some final little grinding up around the hilt area. Some little accents and all that. So yeah, let's get the finish on this thing. So the sword is officially done. Right there. It's pretty cool. I think it turned out the best it could be. Anyways, nice Porta-John shot there for you. Anywho, my buddy Sean is coming out today. The idea for today is to take the boulder, the 2.5 ton rock, and move it over here, because I flattened out a spot. It's about the most level spot out here, and then I'll set the rock on there and figure out where it looks most even. And then the sword is being intentionally installed at an angle, so it's not going to be straight up and down. They wanted it at an angle. We'll see how long it goes drilling wise. He's got a big bore drill. We're going to be drilling some holes down in this thing so we can put the sword into it and anchor it in there once we install it out of the school. So this is the rod. It's going to epoxy down into the hole. This is the mounting plate. The drill is going to go on this. And that rod we're gonna epoxy is gonna come up through there and bolt down to the rock. So this is the rack the drill mounts onto. We got her set at the angle we want with the wood, and then when the epoxy sets up, we'll tighten it down. Nice. So we just finished drilling out the holes. We got plenty of, where'd my daggone? Oh, there it is. This is the cross section of the blade, so you can see we got plenty of room for it to wiggle around in there and secure. Thank you so much, Sean.
Yep.
You're the man. Get her packed up. might be a bit difficult. Alright, so install day. A lot of running around. We got the crane, ladders, wheelbarrows, cement mixers, because there's a couple other things going around the sword feature. So, I'm just a lot of running around, unfortunately. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Yeah, stop that momentum. Right there.
Oh, let it come back forward. Right there, go.
So we just got the big boulder on the crane. The crane weight said it was 4,800 pounds. So pretty hefty rock. We're gonna get the crane packed up, and Papio Travis has one thing to make, so hopefully that doesn't take too long, and then we'll be on our way to install the piece. Just got here. Papio Travis is setting the crane up. The flagpole is actually coming out and going further back, because the big cross Papio Travis is working on, going where the flagpole is, and then the sword and stones going in front of that. So we're going to try to get her set up here. So the sword is officially set in the stone. The anchoring cement is setting up. And we got her in there now. So just let this set up a little bit, and then we can take the rope off and be good to go. What's up, guys? What's up? Oaknut Workshop. Man, it's very loud. Are you recording?
Yeah, I've been recording.
Well, this is the final product. Quite an experience. I learned a whole lot. There's about 100 hours of labor and skill put into this bad boy. So yeah, I think it turned out really cool. The finish on it, muy Gucci. And now it's going to be a landmark here for a long time, hopefully, you know. So it's a very busy road. There's lots of people that drive by here. Get the people, get the people. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's pretty sweet. Full installment done. Big old cross, big old sword, big old rock. This thing is really awesome. I put a lot of time into it, a lot of effort. To make this massive sword in the stone. It's very cool. Really hope that the guys out here like it, enjoy looking at it, and that it'll draw people here. And yeah, it's pretty sweet.